Hey everyone, I'm Randle Watson. I'm here with Chris Davis right now, putting together this just to have a little interview, dialogue, sitting here and talking about trumpet. That's what I do. That's what he does, and just trying to spread the knowledge. And I'm trying to get some more knowledge because I'm still learning too, and I'm sure he is, and he probably does interviews, not with a camera though, with other trumpet players around city and stuff like that. So yeah, let's start off by saying so how did you what was your upbringing in music, and what led you to the trumpet?
I grew up in church. My father and my grandfather are ministers, so I grew up in church. From the day I was born, I was in church. So I was always around music from that perspective, from that standpoint.
Yeah.
And I sang in the choir briefly, but what attracted me to the trumpet was the middle school, the grade school band. They would do a tour in the district. The middle school would do a tour to recruit the elementary students.
Okay.
I first saw the jazz band, and I wanted to be a part of it. So that was when my interest was piqued. And I wanted to play the saxophone, but that was not an option for me at the time.
Yeah.
So I picked the trumpet randomly because the band director was trying to persuade me to play trombone. So I just went left because he was trying to get me to go right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting, cause that's kind of like what happened to me. Okay. I wanted to play the saxophone, but it was too expensive. So,
right.
You know, the band director, had a conversation with my mother, and she was like, yeah, you want to play the trumpet? The band director was like, yeah, man, it only has 3 buttons. It's
right.
easy. It's easier. Yeah,
right.
So, yeah. So as far as trumpet wise, who was the first person that you heard that like led you to believe that you can like make a living playing trumpet, or that made you want to be a musician full time, and or pursue music?
For me, it was Wynton Marsalis, because he's so active. He works. He travels the world. So I was able to physically be close to him many times.
Okay.
The first time I was 15 years old, and he was so generous. He said, next time I see you, I want to hear you play. That was in February. And in October of the same year, my mother surprised me, took me to see him at a club. It was a dance club. It wasn't a jazz club. It was like a boom, 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 boom. He was playing at Excalibur downtown Chicago.
Was he playing jazz?
He was playing jazz
at a dance club, and it was dancing to jazz.
It was the Excalibur Club has 3 levels. Okay. Multiple rooms.
Okay. Is it still
they closed
now?
Like in recent years,
okay.
Or something else now. Okay. But I went to see him again, and I took my horn, and he listened to me play. He gave me a quick lesson right there on the spot, and he also gave me his phone number. And so it was that connection that made me want to pursue music full time. But it was one particular experience I had when I actually wanted to quit music. I was 17, I think, and I went to a concert, Jazz at Lincoln Center concert. I went to the sound check, and when I walked into the room, the vibrations just overtook me.
Yeah.
And it was that moment in time I said to myself, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to do with my life. I'm going to play music for the rest of my life. Wow. That moment changed me. It was I hadn't experienced anything like that.
Yeah.
At that point in my life. Yeah.
Yeah. So at that time you were still in high school, or?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah, still in high school.
Okay.
I think I was a senior. I graduated when I was 17. I believe I was a senior at the time. Yeah.
Okay. And that was at Thornton, right?
Thornton High School. To Thornton High School.
Thornton High School.
In Harvey. Everybody watching this is pretty much local. Yeah. I know it's gonna be on YouTube.
Yeah. You guys gonna know. Thornton. Yeah. Wildcats, baby.
That's right.
So after high school, you went into college at Northern, right?
Northern Illinois University.
Yeah. So how was that experience coming in culturally, not even musically? How was that experience coming from Harvey all the way to DeKalb, Illinois, where Northern is at?
I was for the first time really away from my parents.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I went away to camps and things like that. I was prepared for it too, because I was really grounded. I grew up and I was really grounded in church. So I didn't really lose my mind. And
Yeah,
do things.
I understand.
I
Yeah,
didn't do
okay.
anything at school that I would not have done at home.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So I really took everything in. I went there. One of the main reasons I went to that school was because I knew of a particular person that played in the trumpet section, and I just wanted to play with him. I knew in my high school experience, I was probably the best musician at school at the time, or at least one of them.
Wow.
And at least in the trumpet section.
Yeah, yeah.
Because everybody was really good. Like there was Chris Davis, trombone player Chris Davis. And so we had a lot of good musicians, but
yeah,
I wasn't really being challenged. So I wanted to go to college and be challenged.
Right.
I knew there were other people in the world that were better than me. I just didn't come across them. I never met them.
Right.
So I wanted to be in an environment where I was not the best player. So that's why I chose that school. At the time, it was really incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, who was this person in particular that you wanted to play with?
Danny Campbell.
Oh, man.
From St. Louis, Missouri. And he's about, I don't know exactly how old he is, but he's got about 10 years on me.
Yeah,
so,
man, that dude is, yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy, cause when he came to Andy's Jazz Club, that's crazy.
A whole bunch of swing, man,
man. He sounds so good.
He's got it, and that's when I learned how to swing in school. I really was not good. I wasn't good, man.
Yeah,
So
as far as like you said you wasn't good, so. What were you working on in practice rooms, particularly if you remember at that time? Like, what type of things that got you to feel like you started to come along? Like,
in high school, I was just trying to learn how to play my horn.
Yeah, yeah.
And we still are, all of us, to a point. But you're really early at that point in your development. So I was playing, trying to just learn how to play scales, man. Like. Yeah. Just the different forms of minor. I was just trying to get up and down on my instrument. I could barely play a C above the staff.
This was in high school?
In high school and in the beginning of college,
okay.
Yeah. Because I didn't know why at the time, but my embouchure really wasn't together.
Okay.
Nobody told me that before. So I didn't know that was the reason. Right. So what was I practicing at that time? I was essentially practicing fundamentals. I auditioned to get into college on my IMEA etudes. And my teacher,
I remember.
Mark Ponzo, he told me, he said, I never usually accept kids who audition on their IMEA etudes. And it's just because I guess those students, I don't think it was the fact that they auditioned with that music. I think it was that they just didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And with that came just not knowing classical repertoire.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about Hummel or Haydn.
Man.
At the time. So, but he accepted me, he said, because I was able to pull out the emotion in the music.
That's interesting.
And so he saw that there was something there that he could develop. So I kind of lucked out with that. So that's what I was practicing, to answer your question. I was practicing like fundamentals and a lot of classical repertoire, trying to get that part of my playing together. Now, I wasn't in high school. I was fortunate enough to be all-state orchestra.
Oh, man, okay.
And then in college, I forget what year, man, but I was also able to be in the Philharmonic Orchestra. which to me that was a big deal because there was only a few trumpet players in the orchestra.
Yeah.
Not the wind ensemble, but the orchestra.
No, yeah. I know what you're saying.
That was
Yeah.
So that's what I was practicing then. But I think you asked me when it started to flip for me.
Yeah, when did you started to notice like you was like,
A change.
I kind of see how this piece of metal is working.
What's crazy is generally when you practice, you don't see the growth.
Yeah.
You're in it and you're like, man, I'm not getting any better. When is this ever going to change? Sometimes you feel like quitting.
Yeah.
And I definitely was in that. Generally, you listen back to recording and you're like, oh, I come a long way. Or not.
Yeah.
But a particular season, a lot of things were happening at once for me. I started to pray in the practice room.
Okay.
I would sit in front of that mirror and I would pray for specific things every single time. It was like a routine. And then I'd get to work. I was playing a lot of piano.
Yeah.
Because Ron Carter told me I need to play piano.
Okay.
So that's when I began to learn tunes first on the piano.
Yeah.
Play scales on the piano. It opened up my awareness. So I was practicing. I think I had at least 2 practice sessions a day for the first time in my life at that point.
Yeah.
Somewhere between 2 to 4 practice sessions a day. And I was practicing piano. I was practicing fundamentals. I was practicing the classical repertoire, and I was learning tunes, jazz tunes.
Yeah.
But I was in college, so you're supposed to do that.
Yeah.
In college, you know.
You had mentioned recording yourself. You was recording yourself on a consistent basis back then, or kind of like?
No, I wasn't. But my point was that usually you don't know that you're getting better until you listen to a recording.
Right.
But at this time, I was working so hard that I could actually hear and feel the improvement. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But warning, I hurt myself from practicing so much. It's the first time I injured myself right here, and then I couldn't practice. I had to lay off the horn.
Dang. What did that feel like?
A pull.
Okay.
A pull in your chops right here.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So how did you what kind of things were you doing to rebuild after that?
Well, okay, so that's overuse syndrome, and I didn't seek any help at the time. What I did was I just didn't practice.
Okay.
I only played when I had to. In rehearsals and performances.
Yeah.
And honestly, it took a little over a year to go away.
Interesting.
Now, it happened to me recently, but I got on the phone. I said, I need help. So I did some, and talked to Marcus about this because he went through it. But you do some exercises. The key to get over that is to play. Not playing does not help it. You have to play. You have to play. Okay. Yeah. So I did some exercises to get the muscles just back to normal. I don't know how. I just got lazy with my armature, and that was the thing. And I was playing a lot too.
Interesting.
Block buzzing helped me.
Block buzzing.
Yeah.
I remember Art telling me about that. He
which really isn't buzzing at all.
Well, just put the mouthpiece up to your lips and then cover it up and hold, just blow. Don't puff your cheeks like that.
Yeah, make sure your armature is the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that leads you to the whole buzzing versus not buzzing debate. We can have that conversation later. Ultimately, I think I sounded better when I didn't buzz. Playing the trumpet was easier when I didn't buzz. And that allowed me to get back in shape too. And I sounded better. I felt better.
And you talking about when you say ultimately I sounded better when I didn't buzz, you're speaking in regards to the time that you had that injury, right?
Correct.
Okay.
The second time in my life, like a year or 2 ago. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I noticed like for buzzing for me, like I was doing it kind of like wrong. Like I know it's not really a way you can like. Well, I guess it is a way you can do things kind of wrong. But for me, I was like just buzzing too much, not really focused on like one spot where that buzz is coming from. I was just like, I was careless with the buzzing. I was just like, and then um hanging out and talking to Ryan Neither, he would tell me, like, because I didn't want to buzz, because I knew buzzing was uncomfortable for me, because when I got back to the horn, it would feel just, I didn't have no type of control or whatever. Everything was kind of like spread for me. So when I talked to Ryan, he was like, man, it's a way you're supposed to do the buzzing, because the compression of the horn, you have the compression of the horn, then you have the compression of yourself. You're supposed to be aware and know the two differences and things of that nature. So that's when I started to like buzz softer, and then kind of like relax and not buzz too much, but just buzz for a little bit of time, just to set up the amateur shape to be able to play the horn and all that stuff. But yeah, man. So yeah, that buzzing stuff, it was kind of weird for me, but I'm kind of starting to get it now. So yeah.
You said a couple of key things. You said there's the horn, then there's your body.
Yeah.
I always like to remind people your body is the instrument, and the trumpet is the amplifier.
Right.
Your body's the instrument in every way. And then another thing is you realize what was comfortable and what was not comfortable. You have to pay attention to those things.
Yeah.
It's intuition. Don't ignore it. Don't force things.
Intuition, man.
Yes.
That's key, right, man. Because I think I was just like, just doing things and just being like, this should work, wow. And I was just kind of forcing it, you know.
Now that's a life lesson for you.
Yeah.
Think about any time in life when you try to force a thing and the result of it versus allowing it to happen, versus guiding it, versus leading it.
Yeah.
Whenever you force a thing, it's never as good as it can be if you lead it, if you guide it.
Yeah.
So these are lessons we learn from playing music if you pay attention.
Yeah.
And then you're supposed to apply it to your life, which is the whole reason of playing an instrument anyway, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Now, I want to kind of ask you about what do you think about music business, especially in today's age, and how important it is for young people to kind of like get a gauge on like not just the music itself, but what's behind the music. A lot of time people see these big artists and they're like appalled by seeing like, oh my God, they're on stage, you got the wind blowing and, you know, Beyonce, all this, whatever. But they don't necessarily see what goes on behind the scenes to get them to that point. Like all the like the record labels that's pushing them, the money that is this being able to, you know what I'm saying? So
it takes a team.
Yeah, so as far as that, you know, and the reason why I say in this day and age is because we have this internet now, which is kind of like watering down the whole middleman. You know what I'm saying? We have the power of doing it ourselves now. So how important do you think for young and upcoming artists? How important do you think it is for them to utilize the internet to put themselves out there and create like sort of an empire for themselves as far as you know? Yeah.
I'll answer your question first by saying it's important.
Yeah.
So that's a short answer.
Yeah.
But number one, you need to have your music together. That's what you're selling. Your music and yourself. What sets you apart from the next person?
Yeah.
Randle, you play trumpet. I also play trumpet.
Right.
So what sets us apart? Assuming that we have the same ability, what sets us apart? It's you. It's your spirit. So you have to know that, be comfortable in that, and promote that.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. So you have to have that together. Right. That takes work and takes time. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing, and it's independent of everything else. Secondly is, or maybe not secondly, there's also this other part, and it's the business. You should be knowledgeable of the business as well.
Right.
What does that mean? It's marketing.
Yeah.
It's finances.
Yeah.
So you have to get good at that, or team up with somebody who's good at that. And that's what you have to do.
You know, I would just like for more people, especially in this day and age, man, I would like for more people to know about, you know, try to take some time in their life to separate themselves away from the music just for a little bit and just study just like business, like, or just business is very broad, but
It is.
more so learning about taxes and things of that nature, like writing off taxes and stuff like that for certain things. Like let's say if you did another thing, open setting yourself up as an entity, you know what I'm saying? So that way you can be able to
take advantages of the tax breaks.
of the tax breaks. So
yeah,
if
you can keep more money in your pocket.
yeah, if you had a show,
Yeah.
let me get let me get a haircut, let me look good. You can write that off. You get essentially getting that money back, and the extra money you can reinvest back into yourself. Yourself meaning you are the business, because you are the person providing the entertainment.
You just reminded me of something. I got a bookshelf right here with a bunch of books.
Right. Yeah.
So you got
What's some books you read that
there's a book that we're going through as a group. It's called Thou Shalt Prosper. There's a whole bunch of books you could read, but that's one we're reading right now.
Yeah.
It's basically the 10 Commandments of business, I guess. One of them, I can't quote it verbatim what the commandment is, but essentially, it's saying you need other people. You need other people. The author of the book suggests that you should not try to be a jack of all trades, but to master a specific thing.
Interesting.
And that's what makes the world works. In his words, this is how the world really works. You mastering the thing, and then you team up with someone who has mastered a different skill.
Right.
And you guys help each other. That's what makes the world work. I like that concept. It's true. For example, when I recorded my album, I played on it. I didn't record it.
Right. No.
I hired an engineer and somebody else to mix it, somebody else to master it, and it sounds incredible as a result. Now, if I had tried to do all that myself, it wouldn't have been so good.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that has a lot to do with business.
Okay. Yeah. No.
People don't consider that. I don't think as much as they should. Yeah.
Here's the thing I think about a lot as far as like building a team and relationships and stuff like. How this is something I'm kind of like struggling with, because I think about this as far as building a team. How would you go about getting people to like work with you, as far as like not on the music side, but like for the business part? What kind of incentive? Because everybody
to get them to help.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a couple of things. Don't try to separate it from the music. Don't do that.
Okay.
You're missing out on the lesson if you do, in my opinion. Think about what it takes to get a band together. How do you do that?
Right.
Why do you do it? It's all the same, man.
Right.
It's the same. And I talked to Winton about this and I made it public, the conversation. It's on Behind the Note podcast.
Yeah.
And he was saying if your vision is bigger than you, and if it can include me, I'll help you. I'll help you. So I guess if the cause is big enough, you can get help. Also, you have to know that there are people in the world who have similar interests to you.
Yeah.
And when you meet, you line up, and you guys work together.
Interesting.
That's really how it is.
So I don't necessarily need to, always worry about somebody, a particular individual always wanting like some type of money or anything for
No, I don't think so.
Especially trying to start out.
No.
Okay.
Again, back to what we talked about making things happen, trying to force things to happen. When I see that, I know maybe we're not in line, and then just keep it moving. Find somebody who agrees with you. And John Clayton taught me that too.
Who's that?
John Clayton is a bass player and composer. Clayton Hamilton Orchestra.
Is that Gerald Clayton's father?
Yes, it is.
The piano? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he taught me that lesson too. Find people who agree with you. He said he had a manager who basically didn't agree with him. He didn't have John's best interest at heart, and that was not a good relationship. It was bad for business, and ultimately they parted. So find people that are in line with your vision. There's agreement there. You guys are going the same direction. It's not going to take a lot of convincing. You ever have a conversation with somebody, and you say, "Hey, man, I'm working on this, and I was thinking," and before you can finish the phrase, they're like, "I'm there." You know, you just line up with those
I
people.
be like that all the time.
Yeah.
Man. So for you, as far as what you saying, how has the music scene in Chicago changed over the years?
I don't know. I can't say how it's changed.
Okay.
To me, it's been a great scene. It's very supportive. The musicians support each other. You know, people go to each other's shows.
Yeah.
And
definitely, yeah.
you know, so it's very supportive even on the bandstand. It's just the majority of the people are supportive people, and in that way, since I've been around, it hasn't changed.
Okay.
So I like that. A lot of people make comments like if they come from a different state, how I guess friendly it is,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word, compared to other parts of the world, and that's all I know. So for me, it hasn't changed.
Yeah. Okay.
Older people tell me how much work it used to be here, and it's not so
Yeah.
much work here now. But that was before my time, so I can't really talk about that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna close this out by saying what would you tell young and upcoming trumpeters? What's one thing that you would tell them that'll keep them grounded and keep them going no matter how hard the journey is and process. What's one type of advice you would?
Well, you just use two words: journey and process. That's what it is. I would make it as clear as I could possibly make it that this is a journey. This is a process. Take your time in it. Take everything in. Be thankful for it all, the good and the bad. Don't necessarily want everything right now. That's not how life works. Trumpet is no different.
Yeah.
So, and then also work with people. Life is better with people.
Yeah.
Practice with people. Talk about your struggles with people. They probably have an answer to help you through that.
Yeah. That's my struggle, man.
Yeah, but
wanting it now, man. I'm trying to get it, but
eventually you'll get past that. Hopefully,
yeah.
As you mature. Because again, that's just how life is, man.
Yeah, I'm starting to notice. Like for me, I'm starting to notice that the destination. Excuse me if this sounds too like whatever, but the destination for me in this journey is death. There is no stop. There's no end to this until I die. So I just want. For me, I kind of came to the conclusion that I want to produce and put as much out there as I can, give myself to the world, so that when I do die, hopefully I can still live on through what I gave in the world. So that's kind of how I'm like viewing things now. Because before I used to be just like,
Well, remember, your spirit lives forever.
Yeah.
And what can you take with you after you die? Everything you work on will still be here on earth.
That's interesting.
But your spirit lives forever.
Yeah.
So as you mature your spirit, you'll be that much more, I guess, mature in your next life.
Man, that's...
that sounds a little weird, but
what can you take?
But your spirit has one life, so it's not really a next life.
That's interesting. I just thought about.
But think about that in your development as a musician, because I believe everything that you work out here, all of these lessons that you learn, are to make you a better person.
Yeah.
So that you can share with other people. And because you can take people with you. after you die. Spirits, because the spirits live forever.
Mm.
That's why we're sitting here together right now.
I think I just got mind blown out. I have to think about that one. So yeah, where can people follow you?
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah, I really care about that a lot. I'm making trumpet tutorials primarily for people who play trumpet for their enjoyment. It's not really for the professional.
Yeah. Okay.
Or also for the young player. Like if you're a band student, a young musician just starting out, my channel is for you. So youtube.com, type my name, Chris Davis Trumpet.
Chris Davis Trumpet.
Because there's a baseball player I'm competing with. His name is Chris Davis. So
all this information will be tagged. I'll tag that in the video. You
Chris
guys
Davis
will be able
Trumpet.
to see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Davis Trumpet. And you have an album out?
Yeah, Eventide.
Eventide.
I have it here because Randle told me to get it.
Yeah.
But this is my album. Can you see that in the light? Eventide.
Beautiful, don't it? Look at that cover.
Rajiv Halim's playing alto sax. Casey Fitzpatrick's playing tenor. Luke Malevich is playing trombone. Will Dellisford is on piano. Alex Austin's on bass. Marcus Evans is playing drum set. All original music. It's very relaxing, uplifting music.
Yeah.
It's jazz.
Okay.
Yeah. Buy it on iTunes.
Yes.
Or CD Baby.
Provide a couple gifts for somebody.
If you write me an email, I'll send you one and sign it for you.
I'll tag his email in.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll conclude this interview.
Right on. Thanks for having me, Randle.
All right.
Take it easy.
I look so good, man. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, man. Okay.
Just talk normal. Whatever that is for you.
Hi, I'm Randall Watson.
That's too normal. Come on.
Oh my God.